same crew, more semi-intelligent debates and conversation, but now with the sauce on the side with our new, more healthier topics and conversations. Who am I kidding? Come on, you know that we're all a sucker for sweets around here. Welcome to the OH.Report video podcast. My name is Brian Skoronsky, and coming up today, we've got our NFL Super Bowl picks, because, nobody else does that, right, on any of these shows. And we're also going to tell you, though, who we think the most exciting player is that is still left in the NFL playoffs right now. We got some special guests in the building. How about J.R. Davis, the Mansfield Sr. High Tigers baseball coach? Yeah, that's right. Many applause, many applause. Chris Laux also here, the assistant coach for a long time over at Clear Fork Lady Soccer. And then also
LCP.
He is the OSSCA president for our area, so he's kind of a big deal. Of course, we're going to break down some high school sports. We're going to talk about the Winter X Games and so much more. So let's go ahead and meet the team. We got Chef Boy RG with us here today. That's right. He's going to be cooking with his typical personality, and his sidekick, sous chef Storm. What's up, gentlemen?
Nothing much. Just hungry. Driving in blizzards and getting McDonald's in a blizzard, all the normal stuff. Food. Nice. Good one, man.
So that's the larger end of our crew. Now let's meet the string
Travis
bean.
yet.
Next to our human matzo ball, Travis.
Ooh,
What's up?
Travis.
How you guys going?
Hey.
Josh Allen, he deserved a possession
In overtime, I'm sticking with that. That's the grave I will go in on.
I agree.
Just saying hello. Grumble. All right, guys, and then there were four. That's right. Cincinnati's going to meet Kansas City in the AFC. San Fran's going to head to L.A. in the NFC. So plant your flag. Who is your pick? Who's going to win the whole thing, taking the enchilada home with them? The big trophy at the end of the NFL playoffs. G-Man, who you stacking up on your burger? Who's going to be that center cut piece, baby?
I think it's Kansas City, and I hate to say it because obviously I think the majority of this panel doesn't really like Kansas City because it's just they're a very good team, and I don't think I think Cincinnati's Cinderella story is going to come to an end. I don't think they have enough pieces, enough talent to go into Kansas City and get a win. I know they beat them earlier this year, but that was down in Cincinnati. I think Kansas City, they're just too much, and I think they're going to get it done, and I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I don't know if the Rams are even going to get there, so I think they're going to beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl. The 49ers have beat the Rams 6 straight times.
Whoa.
Chiefs versus Niners. Chiefs get it done. Going with Kansas City.
Oh, okay. I kind of like that pick. Kansas City, I think, is a safe pick as well. They tend to get to the Super Bowl a lot lately. Storm, do you agree?
I do agree. Who I want to win is the Rams, but who I think is going to win is going to be the Chiefs. With no Tom Brady sitting on the other side of things, I think that this is a pretty easy choice. Whenever you have Patrick Mahomes on your team, that's a fair bet. They've got experience, and they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. I feel like especially Patrick Mahomes has a sour taste in his mouth from what happened the year prior. So I think Patrick Mahomes and those boys are going to go out there and get it done.
They have the best QB. I think
Agreed.
That's why.
Yeah.
It's a big tip to the cap to Kansas City. Jimmy Garoppolo,
Is the worst QB.
Yeah, Matt Stafford's good. Joe Burrow's good. Joe Burrow's he's a little scary. I would be a little intimidated if I was a Kansas City fan.
Some might call him Joe Shiesty.
Yeah,
He's been
Joe
that good
Shiesty.
lately.
Joe Burrow.
He's fun to watch, but I'm going with the Chiefs. I think there's going to be way too much on, especially offensively.
That's right. Quick question for the panel here. Anybody ever play at home 4 straight AFC championship games in a row?
No.
Nobody
No.
until
Nobody ever.
Patty Cake and his crew come through this year, and they're about to do that coming up this weekend. So that's why I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs, too. I think these two gentlemen make a lot of great, solid points. And how about the human walrus working the sideline, Andy Reid? He's just so gifted, so talented. He's got all those different pieces out there. He's like the little chess player that sits at the park and wins all day, and you can't figure out how is this guy getting it done. He kind of looks like a dweeb, but he makes it happen on the football field. And by the way, these guys are 11-1 in their last 12 games, and the defense starting to catch up with the offense, which, by the way, is kind of a thoroughbred out there. 8 of their last 12, they have held their opponents under 21 points, and I'm thinking Patty Mahomes can cook up at least scores anytime he wants in his sleep. So the Chiefs is the real answer. Who they're going to play, I'm thinking probably L.A., but like they were saying, I don't know, maybe the San Francisco treat, a little bit too much for them. It doesn't matter. Kansas City all the way. Trav, why am I wrong?
That one loss for Kansas City came against the Cincinnati Bengals because all Burrow has to do is throw it up and Jamar Chase will catch it. And I am so sick of You've heard this last week of Mahomes and his brother doing TikTok and his wife spraying champagne all over the fans at Kansas City. Well, your season's done next week. Even though I hate it,
not versus the Bengals.
Burrow is going to take care of business again against Kansas City. They're going to go to the Super Bowl, but they're going to play against the LA Rams, and the LA Rams are going to win the Super Bowl finally because of one, Matthew Stafford finally out of Detroit. He actually has some players. I'm sorry, Storm. Actually has some guys to throw it to. He has Cam Akers as a running back. You got Sony Michel. You got Cooper Kupp, OBJ, Van Jefferson, Tyler Higbee, and then on the defensive end, you just have Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald. They have all the pieces. Yeah.
It's like a loaded nacho dish anywhere that you look. There's just so much great toppings.
Just a bunch of jalapenos on top, too.
I agree. They got the most talented roster out there, but I want to see a little bit more. Matt Stafford, that throw to Cooper Kupp in the clutch yesterday, I thought that was pretty awesome, and I'm sure it warmed up Storm's heart to see that he could play in the clutch.
Cooper Kupp got to get at least some votes for MVP because just the way he's Triple Crown winner. Touchdowns, catches, receiving yards. Not many guys can do that when you have a playmaker like him. And then other playmakers, Van Jefferson's hit a couple home run catches. Odell Beckham Jr., sorry Browns fans, but it seems like he's comfortable once again in making big plays. You got a decent running attack, and then like you said, all those all-pros on defense. Von Miller wanted to be traded over to L.A., and what has he done since being traded? He has looked like the Von Miller of old that won MVP in the Super Bowl a few years ago for Denver. This is a team, I think, that will turn some heads. They'll win the NFC Championship, and then they'll take out the Bengals.
All right, go ahead, turn your head. I want you to look at the guy right to your right. Hayden, talk some sense into him. Help me out here.
That's a difficult task, but I went at this question. I went at this question with who do I have to pick? If I'm going to roll all the marbles and I'm going to place bets, which this is why I'll try and sway him. I don't want to pick them because we said we don't really love the Chiefs. But if I'm making a bet, if I'm putting my money on anyone, it's got to be them. It just feels like it's their kind of Brady.
They used all their voodoo magic up last night.
It's kind of like their Brady in New England era is been bestowed on them right now. And
that's
Travis,
why I hate them.
I know. And you love sports betting, so you mean to tell me
Yeah,
that
sorry, Brian. I'm going to use all my
on
money up when that becomes available in Ohio coming up this year. That's
well, Travis is going to be in a state where he can throw down some bets
watch
this weekend. We'll see if he actually doesn't bet on Kansas City. I'm thinking he's going to, guys.
Nope, and I'm going to make some good money when the Bengals pull that off, too.
All right, well, some crazy individual performances led to victories this weekend, but which star, in your opinions, is worth the price of admission? Who is the best watch right now in the NFL of the four teams that are still remaining? Hayden, we're going to let you kick things off with this one. Who really stands out to you on the TV screen?
When I was thinking about this, I really want to talk about a guy who doesn't have a chance to be left, and that was Daniels from the Bills last night. I mean, setting the individual touchdown record for a postseason game ever with 4. But if I got to look at the field remaining.
You even said his name wrong, so get that right. Gabriel Davis.
Davis.
That's okay. That's okay.
Well, hey, he's starting to make a name for himself now.
He was an unknown.
Yeah.
But now we know him.
With who's left, I think it's got to be Tyreek Hill, just because I think even at the beginning of every year, his playmaking is just the most exciting to watch as a viewer. I mean, they throw like a 10-yard a post to him.
He's so fast.
And just, boom, turns on the jets, gets flying. So I think he's the most explosive playmaker out there, and I'll be excited to see what he can do. Trav?
I'm going to kind of contradict myself because I had that Rams pick, but Deebo Samuel can do it all on the offensive end. 77 catches, 1,405 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns, 59 carries, 365 yards, 8 touchdowns. And as you'll see here in a highlight coming up, he also can truck a guy on the run game. You get him out in front of the running backs, and he will run anybody over. He does it all on that offensive end, and that is one of the main reasons why the 49ers are playing for an NFC championship.
Yeah, Debo's been awesome to watch. Tyreek, too. It's hard to argue with that. So a couple of votes for some of the fast, quick guys out on the perimeter. And now let's hear from the big guys that want to see the flashy guys in the pocket.
Here we go again with this one. I'm going with Pat Mahomes, and that's because 13 seconds last night, had to get in field goal range, and he did it. And I got to throw this out there. Me and Travis debated this overtime stuff. The Bills had a shot to win the game.
They did.
I can agree on you to that, but still, entertainment value, bud.
It's just
how much more entertaining could it get?
Hey, just make a stop on
He
defense.
has 13 seconds.
I don't want.
Make a stop.
And-
Get the ball back.
This isn't basketball, bud. I know you don't
Okay,
have
anyway,
you don't have the
anyway,
stamina
anyway.
to go man to man, but yeah.
Pat Mahomes is the best player left in the playoffs. Not only is he the best QB, he's going to be the Super Bowl MVP, and I can bet.
Can't bet.
What
Soon.
am I betting, Storm? Okay, so if Pat Mahomes does not get Super Bowl MVP, I will eat a dinner box.
Well, it looks like you're gonna do it next week because they're not even
Probably.
getting out of the AFC Championship,
I mean-
bud.
I don't know if anybody wants to see that, but okay. Well,
This is
we'll sign
escalating.
up.
I like it.
They're not losing to Cincy.
I like Cincy.
All right, Storm. Who is it? Who do you want to see this weekend the most?
The most I want to see is Joe Burrow. Joe
Oh,
Burrow.
I knew it.
Oh, it's getting going.
He's just a young guy, and he's got a lot of moxie the way he handles himself. He's not like a jerk or anything, but he's just really cool, like a really cool guy, a guy you would want to hang out with. And some of the throws he can make on the run, out of the pocket, things like that. He's just a lot of fun to watch, and I feel like he's an underdog, a really big underdog, and I feel like it's always just easy to cheer for an underdog.
Yeah, guys, the QBs are important. I'm going to give you that. They bring a lot to the equation, of course, but I would liken the QB to they're the noodles in the pasta. And what does every good pasta need? That's right, a fantastic, delicious sauce. And the wide receivers this postseason, they are bringing the sauce. They got the sriracha, the marinara, they got the Alfredo for your fettuccinis. So that's why I don't know, a bit of a cop-out. But how about all the wide receivers? Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, those three, I'm going to narrow it down. They're making all the big plays right now. They're setting records just about every single game. You saw Matthew Stafford last night. Half of his yards were thrown up to Cooper Kupp, who gets open every single time he runs a route. Anybody else in the history of football that's a rookie go for over 100 yards in consecutive playoff games? No, not until a guy named Jamar Chase just did that. So I can't wait to sign up and see him. And then Tyreek Hill, I'm with Hayden. If I'm just going to start the season and I get to pick any player in the league that I get to watch their highlight mix at the end of the year, I'm probably going to pick Tyreek Hill because he does it better than anyone except for maybe Lamar Jackson, but he's been banged up. He didn't really get into the postseason this year. Sorry about that, Ravens fans.
Not sorry at all.
Actually, I'm really not. So I'm going with the wide receivers as a former wideout. I have mad love and respect to what a lot of these young guys are doing out there right now. And speaking of young guys, joining us in the studio right now, a Mansfield Sr. alum dedicated to making baseball for the Tigers. Cool, that's right. J.R. Davis in the house. Hey, we are happy to have you. Who would you say is a mentor for you, JR? You know, you've been playing baseball your whole life growing up in this area. Who's a guy that you would say really filled you into the role where you like baseball and that's what you do?
That's definitely my dad. My dad is a big-time umpire around here. He's probably got, I want to say about 35 years, 35 years in this business and everything. So, and just, it's always, growing up, he would come home and tell me, like, a new rule that was in or, you know, what was going on that happened that day in that game, like some weird thing that happened that day. So, growing up involved with baseball and being a Reds fan and everything, you know, that was a big part of my life, I guess.
Shout out John Davis, your father.
Yeah.
Love the guy. What's it like being a baseball coach during the off season, most especially like during the winter months? What's the team doing? How do you even get in drills and work?
It's interesting right now. You know, with bowling, basketball, and swimming, we got a lot of kids doing those sports, kind of like the older kids doing those sports. So, you know, right now we're doing Monday through Thursday of just some kind of workout, either at the weight room at the football field or at Malabar doing some kind of practicing, just little drills or stuff like that. You know, our numbers are limited. We include the middle school too. We got a middle school program, which is great, helps us out a lot. So, you know, just from 7th through 12th grade, we got about 20, 25 kids coming out, which is great, you know, for those numbers and kids not doing anything right now. So the biggest thing is just getting them out and doing something.
I know that Mansfield Sr. near and dear to your heart. Of course, you're an alum from there. And it's a program, though, that's not really known for success. Talk to me about the strategy, trying to take a team that hasn't had consistent levels of improvement, that's not used to continually winning, and trying to make it into a powerhouse.
So the toughest thing is, like you said, is just getting the mindset of the kids. And, you know, for so long, and even when I played, you know, we weren't the greatest. I was saying my senior year we had 9 wins. That was the most whatever we've had in a long time. But just in general, the kids having that mindset of, like, you know, if we get down a run early in game, it doesn't mean the game's over. It means like, we got 9 innings, or excuse me, you got 7 innings. You got to get all 21 outs. So you can't run out the clock. You can't do anything like that. So the biggest thing for us is just changing the mindset, working that every day. And I think, what was it, the 2020 year, the COVID year that happened, my first year was supposed to be until COVID hit. We were going to be great. I knew we were going to be really good, as in like, going to be competing, and we're going to change a lot of minds. And then, 2 days before our first scrimmage, everything got shut down.
Right.
And so now, last year, if we would have had that year along with last year, I think the close games we had last year would have been wins, or we would have turned the corner there and everything. So like, the 2021 year ended up being our 2020 year, so it was frustrating. But then again, like, we changed a lot of opinions, because I remember there was a number of times going to games. I remember there was one game we played against Lexington where we ended up losing 2-0, and the umpire came up to me during the middle of the game. He goes, "Hey, I really regretted scheduling this game just because of the senior high being senior high," and he's like, "This is completely different. This isn't, this is a completely different ball game. This is a completely different team. Like, there's, it's actually fun to watch, and it's actually competitive." And we did that a lot of times last year. Was we were, keeping up really close. Like you said, that Lexington game, we lost 2-0. Madison, we almost beat them at home. We gave up a home run in the top of the 7th.
I was there.
Yeah, that one hurt a lot.
Yeah.
But a lot of our non-conference games, we were very competitive in a lot of our non-conference games too. So it's just right now, like sum up the question, is just changing the mentality of the players. And I think more progress and every day and consistency will help with that.
Trust the process, my friend. All right, let's go around the world, everyone. Throw your best question at JR. Travis, Big League, of course, our resident baseball guy. What you got?
My question is, what do you think is the most important position on the field? I know some people put their best player at shortstop, center field, catcher, first base. Some people, that your best position is your pitcher. But what do you think is the biggest position that you focus on for your best player?
The one thing that stood out to me is catcher. The biggest thing is catcher, because, between every pitch, he's looking at me asking for what kind of pitch he's getting, and he's setting up the defense. He's kind of the captain. He's the way my dad described it when I was little was, you're the only one that sees the whole field and everything. So, with me growing up being a catcher and me being in control as I was back then, I'm able to relate and know everything like that. Especially in college when I was a pitcher. I knew that was the big thing was, the control of what they had, and plus, he basically the captain of everything. So I think the biggest one, and we're going to see who comes out this year, is our catcher, because we lost a 4-year guy, and like I said, I think that's one of the most important positions in the game.
Okay.
Well, just moving along, I would say, I was, researching and looking back at previous seasons for the Tigers and stuff, and I would just say, for anyone who's watching today, what could we expect possibly out of the team and the guys you've been able to work with this year, not goals and aspirations, but what are some of your early judgments about the team that you may have coming up this season?
Well, just like with most high school sports, when you lose 7 or 8 seniors, that's huge. And so one of the toughest things is us trying to, implement the freshmen coming up, of like having them, I tell them this every day. I've called out some seniors today, or in practices a little bit, of like, you guys got to step up. Like, every position's open right now. Everyone's got to earn something. If we get that competitive mentality of like, you're earning a position rather than it just being handed to you because you're a senior, that changes a lot of your mentalities of how stuff goes. And so we're definitely going to be pretty young this year, and it's going to be who steps up the best, right, and during the off season.
You've kind of answered this a little bit before, but how quick do you guys start your training, and how hard is it to balance some of the other sports and, of course, your program?
So with us our school being a very big football program, it's tough kind of doing stuff over the summer just because of, with the summer workouts and everything that Choke has for the football team and everything. So trying to implement some stuff in the summer is pretty tough, fall especially as well. And like I mentioned earlier, we got a lot of kids in bowling, swimming, and some in basketball and everything. So just trying to get some kind of kids out there. It is difficult, especially for, our school districts around here, with the lower numbers and everything. Not many kids are just directly driven towards baseball. It's, they're basically playing almost all 3, if not, 2 or 3 sports per year. So I think that's one of the toughest parts.
And I had a very important question. How does the rally cap really work, either when you're in a slump or you need a big hit? How effective is the rally cap?
You know, in college, one of the things, with me being a pitcher, I only pitched on the weekends, and, I pitched 1 game out of 4, so you had to find something to do, and so like just little stuff like that, just a little rally caps could change up the mentality in the dugout and all that stuff. And, for our kids, especially because like baseball's not a big sport in Mansfield for Mansfield Senior High kids. So just little stuff like that, make it corny, make it, do something like that, get them into the game more rather than just like sitting there and like, all right, what do I do now? So.
Well, JR, we feel like you're the right guy for the job. 3rd year, I'm sure you're going to take it to new heights, and we're really excited for you to continue your progress with the Tigers. And we here on the OH.Report, we like supporting you, so I'd like to present you with a check, $250 for Tiger baseball. But before we let you get out of here, okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. I know we also get a banner up on the field, so it comes with a nice present on the side. Let's talk some winter sports. All right, Winter X Games just wrapped up yesterday, and we all wish that we could be involved or that we had some talents and we could have, been a part of the big thing. But if you had to compete in Winter X, is there any outdoor winter sport that you feel like you might be able to make a podium, be competing for that bronze?
If it was up to me, I would love to do curling. I would love to try curling out. I could see myself getting into that and, really putting time away. As long as I'm not doing the brushing thing, as long as I, just push my, be the pusher guy, whatever you call it, for all those times and just being able to work that out. But other than that, I would love the curling.
Hey, I seen some curling of some fists over there from G-Man, so I think he likes your answer.
Yeah, I also want to try curling, and it's mine's more of a. I don't think I'd ever be able to do it, but it looks so fun, and I feel like it takes a lot more than what it like actually looks like. And I don't know. I think I got some nice upper body strength. I think I could do that, like the scrub. Like I think I can make it there, but
you're a little scrub.
I know they got a cleat on, but I'm afraid I would slip and fall, and
Hey, the U.S. men are defending Olympic gold medalists.
See, there we go.
I watched that. That was exciting to watch 4 years ago too. It was great.
What else is great about the outdoors?
You're gonna go with me.
Where would you compete?
If only sledding, just regular sledding, was an X Games or an Olympic sport. We had, when I was a kid, we used to do competitions and everything. I was going down as fast as I could. You have to get the weight perfect and everything like that.
But you
body
for it for sure.
Hey,
we'll give you that.
One of the, back in the day, I was more like Hayden, how Hayden looks now than what G and Storm look. But the freshman 30 actually hit me in college. But anyway. You get the weight right, you can sled down really quick, and I think I could do well in sledding if that was an Olympic sport or an X Games sport.
Hayden, you think you could compete in anything?
Now, I guess maybe weight wouldn't be an advantage for me, but I was looking at past and previous X Games events. Now, they don't do it anymore through the X Games, but it was featured, and it was modified snow shovel racing. And, I mean, it sounds exactly like you think. It's literally a shovel. You drop down on it, and it looks extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
But I'm really intrigued. So whether I guess I could realistically win bronze, maybe not. But do I want to do it? Yeah, I do.
I think I'm too sissy for an outdoor sport when it comes to the cold. I just don't really do that well, I think, out in the elements. I like my heat inside. We set it to a nice balmy 75 in here. But if I did have to get outside and compete, for me, I do like walking. I don't sit still very often. That's why I don't even have a chair on this show. So I think if you strap some snowshoes on me and you tell me you got to get from here to there, I could probably pull that off. My skill set is so limited, I at least think I could walk. And maybe be competitive in that fashion. So throw me on the podium for a little snowshoeing. I don't know if that's a real event, but it looks a little bit safer than this, what we just saw on the TV there. So, did everyone answer? Storm, do we hear from you?
No, you didn't hear from me, but I don't have much to say. I'm not very good at very much, and I'm really not good at being outside. But
it's hard.
So I just put down snowboarding because I thought that would be the most fun to learn. And I am just hoping, got my fingers crossed, that they would give me a participation medal.
You mean those aren't clips from home?
No.
Oh.
Definitely not.
No.
The only ever thing I've done remotely close to that is skateboarding. And the last time I was on a skateboard, I fractured my arm. So.
Okay.
But it'd be fun.
All right, JR, well, maybe on your way out, you can grab a board in the lobby. We at least got a sled, and you can try to bust out some tricks. There's a lot of snow out there today.
Might need that to get home today. The way the snow's coming down.
All right, JR Davis, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate him joining us. Okay, next topic in order. Let's see what we got here. Well, it's winter. It's cold outside, but there's some dudes that don't really probably need to wear gloves, at least not when they're in the basketball gym, because they are just so in fuego when they shoot it. That's right. We're talking about the best three-point shooters that we have right here in North Central Ohio. So let's get the debate started. Who's the best three-point shooter in the area, Storm?
I think it's Luke Denbo. Has to be. There's not a shot on the floor he does not like. He's ultra confident, which is something you have to be when you're a shooter. You can see a couple of shots not fall down the old basket, but all you need is one. And if you keep shooting, that shows that you have a lot of confidence. And the thing I like about him most is that he can create his own shot. It doesn't really matter. He doesn't need to, stand there and wait around for the offense to come to him. He can do it off the dribble, anything he wants, whether it be falling away, step back, things like that. He can just find his own basket.
You going someplace else with this, G?
I don't think so. I'm going with Luke Dembo too, and I think it's because as soon as he passed the half court line, you have to be in his face because he can shoot from pretty much whenever. And for all my 2K players out there, he has microwave on Hall of Fame. This dude heats up in an instant. One shot through the basket, get ready because he's about to drop 30 on your head, and that's what he's been doing the past couple weeks. So I'm going with Luke Dembo as my best shooter and best scorer.
Oh, so a little bonus action in there, too, from G-Man. Not only the best shooter from the outside, but just the best pure scorer that we have in the area. And we did just see a kid who puts up 32 a night, so I think that's saying something. Gentlemen, are you on the Dembo train? Are you riding it straight through?
Go ahead, Hayden.
Yeah, I mean, we might have to start coming up with some topics on the show that don't relate to offense or just being straight money, because that's what Luke Dembo is. So he's my obvious answer, but I also toss a guy into these clips that you're seeing, not because I think he's the better shooter, but someone that's become, someone that's reminding me of Luke Dembo from that mindset of trying to create shots and looking good from the floor. As I'm going to give Bruscotter from Shelby a little bit of love. His shots, he's still working on it. Sometimes a little bit rushed or need a little bit more time to look for it. But I think he's got some of that same, as a sophomore, he's got some of that same mentality as Dembo.
And he's 6'6", too.
Yeah,
so
he's
he
got
just
the
sees
body.
right over the top of most guys that are trying to guard him as a number 2.
Everybody had Dembo down there, so I wanted to change things up and get this conversation back again from last week. Mason Studer of Colonel Crawford, I think, not only has one of the best shots in the area, but he has the moves to open up the shots, and also he can dish it as well. He has the full capability of hot hands, if you could say that. Just a pure shot. He can break ankles at any time, and he can dish it off for the bucket as well. That's why I think Mason Studer, one of the hottest hands in the area.
Okay, that's a cute way to try to mix things up. And I think that Dembo, it's a really good choice. It's hard to pick against him just because of when he does dribble across the half-court line. I think he's the best three-point shooter off of the bounce in the area. But if we're talking about a set-still shooter, there's a better guy even in the same league that Mason Studer plays in. That's right. It's Jackson Smalley. I just seen him play with my own eyes at Upper Sandusky, and he was tearing it up in the barn. He knocked down some big-time trifectas, and he's shooting 45% on 75 attempts this year, gentlemen. That's almost half the time that he puts it up. He's getting 3 points into the scoring column, so I think that he's a good pick. Him and Dembo would be my 1A, 1B. I think it's a pretty good combo right there. Definitely some smoking hot shooters. And speaking of smoking hot, a gentleman just walked in here, took a seat next to me. Everybody, how about the longtime assistant of the Clear Fork Lady Colts soccer team and then the president in our area of the OSSCA soccer chapter? That's right. Can I get some applause for Chris Laux? Yeah. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you. Thanks, Brian.
So, when you reflect back on last season, it was a special one for Clear Fork, and I know that you had some girls coming up through the ranks that we were talking about. They were the young players, and then last year they grew into their own. Where do you rank that overall as a team? What was some of the conversation after the season? Were you proud, more or less, of what you accomplished, or did you feel like you left a little bit on the table?
Well, I mean, we were proud. We had a good season. I mean, we did leave something on the table. I mean, these, the girls down there have high expectations every year, and that could be good and bad. Sometimes those high expectations can weigh on you a little bit.
Sure, that's fair.
And but it just makes you hungry for next year. And so yeah, I mean, I think we were a little. Obviously, the first goal is to win the league. And in our league, though, is one of the best teams in the area, in Ontario. So, again, that game basically comes down to the league championship when we play them. So, and then, obviously, the tournament, you got 4, really good, Richland County teams with Lexington, us, Ontario, and Madison. So, and again, after we lost Ontario in the regular season, as far as the league was concerned, we had our eyes set on hopefully doing something in the tournament. And so obviously it was disappointing losing in the semis to Madison, and I think that was a little bit of a surprise this year. I think Ontario is probably the favorite going in. And
big favorite, I'd say.
Yeah. So I think part of that too is expectations and nothing. I mean, I think maybe Ontario was playing a little tight. Maybe they weren't. And Madison, they had nothing to lose. They had about a 500 season record going into that game, and I think they just felt like they get on a roll. So yeah.
How long you been coaching now, Chris?
Last year was year 16 for girls soccer. Now I've been coaching something in the Valley since 1995. So. I was a volunteer assistant on the boys basketball program for 19 years, I think.
So you've been an assistant the entire time that you've been out there in the Valley, and I know that you're really highly thought of within the coaching circle, certainly within soccer. You ever get the craving to be a head coach or no?
No, I really don't. And one, I don't teach, so I work outside the school. And unfortunately, I've had jobs I've been able to, have some flexibility. But I like the supportive role. And you can really, in a lot of cases, you can really do some more teaching, in that assistant role. And I'm the JV head coach, if you want to say that. But again, same thing. I enjoy kind of that aspect of coaching, of developing kids, and teaching the game, whatever it may be, basketball or soccer, and helping them become varsity players. So,
nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
All right, let's have the crew kick some big questions at you. Go ahead, Trav.
Coach, how important is it to have a pipeline through middle school of just a soccer program within your school district to get ready for high school soccer?
Oh, very important. And we're fortunate, and just the soccer in general. I mean, kids can start that so young. So 5 years old and they're kicking the ball around. Where like volleyball, I know that's one of the things that they talk about is they really don't have. A lot of kids don't start playing volleyball until they get to middle school. You may have some that start earlier, but for the most part, soccer is something that kids can start early. So we have a great rec program down there. But the biggest difference has been the number of kids that now play through the club system, and that's been when I first started coaching. I think we had maybe three or four girls that would play club, and I think the last couple of years we've had as many as 16, 17 girls in our program that play club ball. So that's been a big part as far as, but you still need, especially at the high school level, I mean, you got the club players that kind of are the better players, but you still need to fill in that team with kids that maybe don't play club, have come up through the rec program. So and we got a very good rec program down there. So. Okay.
Well, earlier before the show, we were talking about the All-Star game that we, met at earlier in the year with all the snow, kind of like we're seeing outside today. But obviously, that's an event that you're a part of setting up. Being the North Central District President of the OSSCA, big acronym. But
right.
What's some of the extra balances, or what does being involved with that role, do day to day for you, or just what are your, duties being in that position?
Well, I mean. Right now, not as much. I mean, it gets very busy probably starting in July, and that's really mostly just making sure I know what coaches in the area, are, and getting them signed up as far as registration and paying their dues, and so there's always turnover every year. So that's really kind of sometimes the hardest part of this job is figuring out who's filling in slots that maybe are opening up from the year before. But basically, I just constantly get on them to make sure that they register and in the district and pay their dues. And then I feed them information that maybe have come from the state in terms of rule changes and things like that. So and then throughout the season, then same thing. I'm just basically keeping them updated with information from the state. And then we have our district awards meeting in October where we pick our all district team. So.
Awesome. Thanks for shedding some light on that.
What's that?
I said thanks for shedding some light on what that job entails.
So.
Pretty simple question for you here, Coach.
Sure.
How much impact does a senior class have on not only the team but really the school?
That's an interesting question because I forget who I was talking to the other day, made an interesting comment that said, you don't win state championships with seniors. And I thought that was really interesting. But I was involved. I mean, I was on the basketball staff when that team, Clear Fork, won the boys in 2002. And that was basically a senior-laden squad. I mean, it was all seniors that pretty much played. So, again, I think it depends on the class. If you have a good senior class, and either guys or gals that have bought in and really want to make that year special, then yeah, it's huge, because I mean that leadership and the maturity they've developed getting to that point is very important. But sometimes, again, maybe if things aren't going as well as you hope, they kind of lose that hunger, and that's why that comment about a good junior class or underclassmen that still have that hunger to work hard, sometimes can be more successful. So.
We know a thing or two about being hungry. I got another pretty simple question for you. What are you looking forward to most next year?
On the soccer side?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, we lost 12 seniors, so we lost a big class. But again, back to Travis's question, we have a nice pipeline, and I think we've got 13 girls that I know of that are coming in as freshmen, and it's a strong class. In fact, the next 2 years, we've got some really good talent coming up. So again, we're fortunate down there in Clear Fork. We just kind of reload and then try to do the best we can with the talent that we have. So.
And Chris, you're also involved with basketball down in Clear Fork, where you run the scoreboard, and so you're plugged into the MOAC and all the happenings out there. So shed some light for me on your thoughts on results like we just saw from Shelby and Galleon last week. Final scores of 72-4. What plays into that happening at the girls' game that we don't really see on the boys' side?
Yeah, I know that's tough. When I saw that score, I'm like, oh man, that hurts. That hurts me to see a score like that. Yeah, I don't know why it happens. Whether just the boys are, have more of a competitive fire in them, and they don't want to be embarrassed like that. So maybe they fight harder and feel like, I'm not going to let that happen. Where maybe at some point, the girls just kind of feel defeated and they just kind of pack it in. That whole, I know in basketball it's a running clock now when you get to 35 points, and
right.
which is great. Soccer is difficult, because we get in situations where we don't like to run up the score. I mean that's we generally 9 or 10 goals and we stop, and we've had games where we pass the ball around for 45 minutes, and I'm not sure if that does anybody any good. We got to figure out some way, I guess, of handling those large margin victories. So.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to debate that here in a minute, but did want to thank you for letting us be a part of the All-Star Soccer festivities this last year, and like Hayden alluded to, I think there was more snow then than there is today.
Yeah,
and we got a lot out there. That was one of the most fun games
that was.
I've ever been a part of. Never seen anything like that.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy without a doubt. And actually, the kids loved it. They really did.
Yeah.
So, I think we only played a half of the girls' game,
right.
But some of them wanted to keep playing. You
Yeah.
know, so, but again, just for safety purposes and everything, we felt like we could only play half a game. But yeah, no, that was. I mean,
not even.
Yeah, that's
the
the worst weather I've ever seen, without a doubt. We've had, when you schedule it there in mid-November, you never know what you're going to get.
Sure.
We've had some really nice days. We've had cold days, but I've never seen snow like that at all. So that was something else. So.
Well, I'm trying to channel my inner Oprah today. So, we gave a little bit of money to Tiger Baseball.
Check
So
under
we'd like to contribute $500 to you,
thank
Chris,
you very
for the
much.
scholarship fund that I know you
Yes.
put on for that game. And really appreciate you letting us be a part of it. And we look forward to doing it in years to come.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I do, when I said it that day on the broadcast, we appreciate what you guys are doing as well. You have really brought a lot of attention to high school sports in the area, and it's just fantastic what you guys are doing. So thank you.
Thank you very much,
Yep.
Chris. All right, Chris Laux, everybody.
Give it up.
All right, take care, brother. All right, G-Man and Storm, let's pick up the debate here just about the unevenness, it seems like, some of the matchups that we get in girls basketball that doesn't seem to happen with the fellas. So I'd like you guys, you see a lot of high school sports. What, in your opinion, makes for that differential that sometimes happens in the ladies' game that I can't think of a score that we've ever seen for the gentlemen, 72-4?
No, I've never seen something like that, especially on the boys' side. I mean, I've seen blowouts, but 72-4, that's pretty remarkable. I think it goes to credit to Shelby. Obviously, they're a dominant team, and you don't see many teams of that kind of caliber like Shelby, and I think every school they have their down years. I mean, you'll get a senior class like that comes on and can dominate a team like that. But I think that the talent gap in girls, especially basketball, it can be very top heavy. And if you don't got the certain amount of girls that'll buy in, it's kind of tough to be able to hang with a squad like that. And I think Shelby's just a perfect example this year. They got a great senior class. They got a great underclassmen as well. And they'll go on a drought, I'm sure, in a couple years, and then they'll come back. It's kind of how high school sports works. It all really depends on that senior class, as Coach Chris just really alluded. It's just that team's got to buy in, and sometimes it's kind of hard on the other side.
So there are rule changes, like Chris talked about, the 35-point differential, where then they'll start with the running clock storm, as we hear Chris throwing a couple jumpers outside of some top. Shut up. Awesome. Money.
Sounds like he made him,
Chris. Do you think there can be anything else done within the game as far as the rules are laid out, Storm, to make sure that there aren't any more 68-point differentials in a 32-minute game?
I don't really know, honestly. I like to just equate it a lot to esports or video games. And sometimes when you just get rolled, it's just team difference. You're just a significantly worse team, and it's not your fault or the fault of anyone. You just play a team that's a lot better than you. And the only other thing I could think is to fix it would be if you limited or implemented some sort of mercy rule, where if a team goes up by 50, it's just over. That's the final shot. Like, that's the final basket would be the 50th point, and then you just end it there no matter how many quarters it's been. But I don't know if that would be better or worse. But that would be the only thing I could think of that would really fix that problem.
I actually don't think that that's a horrible thing. I think you're probably not going to take yourself out of that 50-point hole if you fall into one. You've kind of buried yourself, and it's probably over. So, Hayden, I don't know. You got any more suggestions? Can you take the conversation anywhere different?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, I do kind of like that idea because there just gets a point where it's deflating, and I think it might just be deflating for everyone involved because you start to think, like, they're not going to come back. You don't want other people to start getting hurt, too. Not that it happens. It could happen once in a lifetime, but you don't want any injuries that would be unnecessary to happen. So, I mean, it's just two teams that aren't on the same levels of where they're at in their programs right now. So, we watched them play. Travis and I did against Northmore earlier in the year. And Northmore, their girls' team's respectable and a good squad, and it wasn't to this extent. So, I don't know. I think it was just a bad night for them. Great night for Shelby, which it seems like every night has been. And, yeah, I think there needs to be a point where we can slow that down.
I agree to that completely, but there's sometimes it's just nothing that you can do because Shelby, they probably played the first half with their starters, and then they probably put in their JV players or the players on the bench and don't get a lot of playing time, and they had a great night as well. It's just one of those perfect storms for Shelby to where, those JV players got some great experience, but they played a very good game, and Galleon was just having a very off night. But I would think like a 50-point, mercy rule or something like that would happen. I know that they're trying to get on there with once you get to 35, if it drops below 30 points, the clock stops. But if it stays above that, the running clock, it's a start. But you're still seeing, Loudonville, too. They're such a good team, but they play in the Mid-Buckeye Conference, so they play some of those opponents. They have to play them. They, have some great players that put up some great points in the first half, then they put the JV players in. What do you want them to do? Do you want the JV players that don't get a lot of playing time to just pass the ball around? No, you want them to get experience. I know there's a lot of people, some media members as well, that just frown upon it and say, why did you run up the score? Well, like I said, sometimes it's just it's a perfect storm. You want players that don't get a lot of playing time to get that experience. And are they not gonna try and shoot the ball when they don't get to play a lot? No, they're gonna chuck it up every chance they do. So it's just it's tough, but it happens sometimes.
Well, and at the same time, it's as one of those varsity starters, you get to play a half. I mean, how fun can that be?
You want to get as much as possible out of that half, right?
Yeah, like we got blown out all the time freshman year, but I'm sure being on the other end of that is just not fun at all because you just quit like your best players stop playing. Which when I go to basketball games, like I want to win, but I also want to play.
Yeah, you want to go up against the best teams because that only makes you better. Even if you get blown out, you're going up against the best and you're learning from it.
And this is like I believe this at least a 55. I think they've had at least 3. This would make the third 55-plus point win, with the other games being Willard and forget the other one. But
was it the first
game?
Yeah,
it could have been. This is not the first time it's happened to. It was Ontario. So, yeah, it seems to be a recurring thing.
I think we can just go ahead and close the chapter on this one and just say Lady Whippet's pretty good.
Yep.
Pretty done.
Like I said before, they have a really good chance of making the Dayton.
All right. Well, let's say goodbye to this topic, and let's now welcome in a brand new segment, and we're going to go inside of the mind of our very own Storm Blunchley. I'm going to let him set this up on his own. I don't know where to go with this.
Well, I think that the only people that have seen this so far are us two. Is that correct? None of you have seen it yet.
I am so
not
excited
even
to see
Adam.
this.
Oh, okay, wow. So a lot of pressure. I don't know if I have a single word to describe it. I really don't. But
It's speechless.
I'm excited at least to watch.
I'm
so
intrigued on what's going to happen in this
Grand
segment,
premiere.
Storm.
I guess let's just roll that beautiful bean footage and get this show on the road.
All right.
This is perfect. This is exactly what I was talking about.
Hey guys, this is Eye of the Storm, first segment ever, first debut actually in the new year. And today on Eye of the Storm we got some very important topics to get to. Today we're talking about zone defense. We've got 23, 131, 32. Got to just make a quick note right here real quick and teach you guys how to run them. You don't. Zone sucks. Zone is the worst defense. Zone is if you're lazy. If you don't like running, and I mean, I'm getting out of breath just talking. I don't like running, but I do like playing defense, and I like playing a man's defense. This is baby. You are Goo Goo Gaga baby if you play this zone. Yeah, that bad. It is horrible. Do not play zone defense. It's lazy, and it makes bad habits. Guys, stand around on defense. Don't get to positions, and you give up easy baskets. I know resident Joe Lenardi over there thinks the 1-3-1 zone is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Let me tell you, it is not. Here he comes to defend himself, making his way over here. Can't move that well. His legs really, don't move like they used to because he used to run his own defense. Today we're going to be talking about time. More importantly, the shot clock. Let me show you how long some high school possessions can last. I think we all get the point. 1 hour. I mean, crazy. And calling some of these games, watching some of these games where teams will just dribble around. I get it. You're trying to do anything you can to win. Not calling out anyone specifically, any schools or anything like that. Just in general, in high school, you gotta have a shot clock. I don't know why there isn't one. It just speeds up the game, makes it a lot faster, and I think the fans would be pretty happy with a shot clock. Travis, what's your opinion? Do you like the shot clock?
Why don't you play defense?
Of course he doesn't like the shot clock.
Defense.
I do like, man. Hey, at the end of the game, it's a lot harder than it sounds, and I don't think that you should be rewarded for being up 1 point.
Honestly, it'd be good for you because you get to stand around and hold the ball like you want to.
This guy, JV, Mr. Junior Varsity Kicker over here. All right. Lastly, on the Eye of the Storm, we're going to be talking about style. Fashion. I mean, how many times have you seen this Young Gravy hoodie? I am the walking definition of drip. If drip had a son, it'd be me. It'd be Storm. I am the drip, the rainstorm, the drip storm. Anyways, we're talking about the fisherman's beanie today. Look at this mop I got on my hair. Grease and just disgusting dirt and ball up here. Yeah, grime, balding. I'm balding at 21. Look at this widow's peak. What is this hairline? Then you put on the fisherman's cap. Oh, drip. Keep the ears out. You gotta make sure you aren't, folding out your Dumbo ears like how I have them, like this. Can't do that. Gotta tuck them in. Looks great with the glasses, the Young Gravy hoodie. I got black shorts on too. The full black outfit look. I'm ready. I'm ready for the day, ready for my game. So this look, coming to a game near you. Probably tomorrow. Being back, my back. Yeah. Yeah, oh, my back hurts. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for Eye of the Storm Week 1. This was kind of all over the place. Going to do some more research. Going to get some more fashion. Yeah, my MacBook's broken. Going to do a lot more research, get some more topics out for you guys. Let me know if there's anything you guys want me to talk about. I'm great at style. I like food a lot, pretty large. That's all there pretty much is to know. So if you need anything, Travis wants me to take the L back there, so there's that. If you need any other advice, just, drop it in the comments. Other than that, it's been Eye of the Storm. We out. Nah, don't do that. At least don't put that part in there.
Yeah, I mean, there it was.
There it is.
I worked really hard. The intro took me like 3 hours to make because most of that though was spent like finding pictures of myself that I thought were embarrassing. So, but I see we all kind of took a page out of my fashion advice book while we were in that break there.
The shiesty cap.
Yeah.
The fisherman lid.
Fisherman beanie.
Okay.
Style by storm.
Yeah.
Well, definitely, it appears that you're a little bit disappointed with the zone defense and shot clocks. What about area high school teams? Let's just talk about the boys. Who would you say has really disappointed you? And actually, since we all have these fun little whiteboards, let's just all write them down, and then we'll expose to each other who's been letting us down this year. Okay. So, high school team in the area, of course, of the conferences that we cover, who's having the worst? All right, everybody got an answer?
Hold on.
All right, on the count of three, we're all going to turn them around. Okay.
Rushing. This is so hard.
1, 2, 3. Tigers, same. Mansfield Sr. Man, okay. So, sorry, Tigers. We love you so much that when you don't bring the juice, it just lets us all down. So, let's go around the room and, hey, give me your reason, Travis. Why is this the most disappointing team in North Central Ohio?
Because the start that they had, opening night against Worcester, they got the big 59-48 victory over a team we thought was going to win the OCC.
Sure.
Then they go to Lima Senior, who has one loss on the season.
To
They
the
beat 'em.
Tigers.
It was to the Tigers, 61-59 in OT, and then really surprising loss that really started the downfall, 62-61 at the buzzer to Mount Vernon. Then they lost to Spire. Lexington handled them. They did get a bounce back against Thurgood Marshall, but then since then only one victory, and that was to Ashland. They lost again to Mount Vernon. Columbus St. Charles, they got beaten by Worcester pretty handedly. Sandusky on a shot. It's just, even Madison, that's the big one. The city game lost to Madison. They're just 4-10, 2-6 in the OCC. It's just, it keeps going downhill. It's like quicksand. They keep fighting to get out, but they just sink further and further, and it's tough for a team that we think has a lot of talent.
They definitely do. That's how they scored those 2 wins right off the rip this season. Just 2 and 10 cents. Hayden, why does it frustrate you?
Yeah, it's frustrating when you got a group with that much talent. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen the glimpses. We see what they can do. And, I mean, just looking at their schedule, it's not going to get any easier for the rest of the year. You got to see Madison again. You got to see Ashland, Spire again. So it's frustrating because, we love to go to that gym. We love to cover them, and we're going to continue to, but we just want to see them, Mo Ware needs some help. The dude is a straight baller, but they just haven't been able to piece together wins, and it's not wasted talent, but it definitely it's tough.
Nah,
it's tough.
it feels that way.
Yeah, it does.
Because we had that exciting conversation
does.
about the best player in the NFL still remaining. Mo Ware is probably the most exciting player in North Central Ohio to watch. Maybe not named Luke Dembo. He's in the top 3, I'd say.
I agree.
We probably all agree with that. But he can't get the supporting pieces to come together to make it count in the W column. So that's what hurts me the most, is that I do feel like it's a little bit of a waste of an awesome season.
Yes.
Great twitchy talent like Mo Ware, and just a good unit. I know they're young, but Tigers not getting it done right now. G-Man, why are they the choice?
I think what frustrates me about him is, obviously we all talk about Mo Ware, but I think the pieces are there to be a very good squad in the OCC, a very tough conference too. I think that the guys are there to help out Mo Ware, but they just haven't been able. They're a very streaky team. It's like a roller coaster. Some days they'll go out and beat Worcester, and then some days they'll go get destroyed by Worcester. They can't really just string back-to-back wins against very solid squads in the OCC. So I think it's frustrating considering they're 4-10. I mean, they're 6 games below 500. So, I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle to even get to the 500 mark. But I think what's encouraging is they've got a solid few wins on their schedule. As Travis mentioned, Worcester and Ashland. That's something you can hang your hat on, and they're going to need more of that the rest of the season if they want any shot and being relevant in the OCC.
All right, wrap it up for us.
I mean, just like how everyone else said, it's the Tigers by far. This is a team that I think a lot of us thought were going to win the OCC or at least be battling for first, but I think they're in the battle for last now, if I'm not mistaken. And I was at that West Holmes game versus them, and it just kind of seems like when they take a lead, they just kind of stop competing. They think that they kind of have it wrapped up, and then West Holmes came back on them not once but twice and ended up hitting a buzzer beater. So it's really hard to watch because they are a lot better than how they play, and I don't really know what it is. I don't really know how to solve that problem, but it just really is kind of sad to watch.
Well, I'll tell you why that is, Storm. You want to know why?
I don't want to know why. The actual reason.
Because we love Tigers hoops.
I love
We
Tigers.
just want the best for you guys. We don't want to see you competing at the bottom of the OCC. You got too many darn good players. And we just want to see you all succeed, including tomorrow night. That's right. We're going to come over and see you, Tigers, so don't be mad at us. Don't hate on us. Just do better. Get some wins. Show us that potential. Dig yourself out of that hole. Compete down the stretch. I know they will. Marquise Sykes, he's got one of the best coaching staffs in the area, period. I believe in that staff, and I hope for a better second half of the season. And let's talk about it. Let's check out what we got going on the OH Report coming up this week. I mentioned that we're going to be seeing the TY Tigers tomorrow night, and they are going to be at home, a game against Shelby. That's going to be a live and free edition of Boys High School Hoops, so that's going to be a fun game. Northmore is over at Lucas. I'm going to be on the call for that one. Definitely going to be a fun atmosphere down there in the Cub Cave. Travis, give me one reason why the Knights can win that game.
If they can get balanced like they did against Mount Gilead with 4 in double figures, and Max Lauer can control the paint, they will get the victory. But Lucas, they always pick up the D, especially in the Cub Cave. Defense is the key for the Lucas Cubs.
G-Man, you're going to see Upper Sandusky at Ontario. You giving the Warriors a shot?
Not with Trent Beamer, baby. I want to see some highlights, Trent. I need some blocks. I need some dunks. Give me some cool highlights to put on my video, man.
Over at the Eagles Nest, we're going to have Storm Blunchley. Are you giving your Cougars a shot?
There's a chance. I won't count them completely out. There is definitely at least a chance.
Okay, so a chance, whatever that means. All right, then on Wednesday, we got plenty more coming up for you guys, including where we're going to film another edition of the Eye of the Storm, so look for that dropping next week. Cannot wait.
Good grief, we're bringing it back.
Who knows where that's going to be headed. Walsh is going to be at Hathaway Brown. I'm going to be on the call with that one, along with Hayden. You get to come up to Cleveland with us and see some D1 ladies teams go head-to-head, so that's going to be a good time. But I'm more, I think, interested in the outcome of Loudonville at East Knox. G-Man and Travis on the call for that one. The Dogs versus the Birds. Who gets it done in your opinion, Trav?
I don't know. I mean, 2 of the best scorers in the area come from Loudonville and Vermilion and Williams, but I mean, our Dogs. We love the Dogs down in Howard, Ohio. Can they do enough? Majors and company down there. Can they get the victory? Can they get the upset? I don't know. We'll have to find out, but I think it's gonna be a good one. And I'm excited to call this one with you.
I think every Loudonville girls game I went to, they lost. So
maybe they don't.
I think
want
I'm
to see
bad
G-Man
luck.
walk in the building.
And I think every East Knox girls game I've been to, they've won.
Oh, here we go.
I guess we'll see.
Right.
Upset alert. Here we go.
Woo. All right, moving on to Thursday. We're going to have your area stat leaders with Hayden and Travis. That's going to be a good time. And then on the live stream, how about Loudonville again at Crestview? And not just any Cougars. How about the Firelands Conference champion for the 3rd straight year, Cougars? I'm going to be calling that one with you, G-Man. And I have not got to see the Lady Cougs in action yet this season on their home surface. So it's a special place inside of that Cougars den. I want to see Mary Leaper and company with my own eyes. I bet you do too.
Yeah, I haven't seen them all year. I've only been to the boys' games and now hosting Loudonville, a very tough team, one of the better teams in the area. And I think we all thought Crestview was going to be pretty bad this year in girls' hoops when they got absolutely blitzed by Buckeye Central. That was
Facts.
opening night?
Yep, I was there.
So now, obviously, in the Firelands Conference, getting done, this will be a big test there at the Den.
Hayden, do you foresee a 68-point blowout for the Lady Whippets in their game against Highland? Probably not.
Maybe not 68, but
About 50? Then they'll just call it good?
just kidding.
In the new
I'll
Storm
just be
rules?
at the gym. You can catch my highlight later. I'll leave it at that.
All right. We're also going to have Dalen Goff's going to head up to Norwalk. We're going to get our first look at the Truckers, I think, this year, playing against Sandusky, a team that has just 1 or 2 losses on the season. That's a really good SBC game. And then, Travis, you get to see the city game between Javar and Brian Davis. A good head-to-head right there. It's going to be fun.
I'm excited to see Faith Kuhn of Madison
Very
go
skilled.
at it, averaging a double-double. She's one of our stat leaders for rebounding, but I want to see how she can go up against the outside shooters in Kirsten Bradley and Minetta Hillary from Mansfield Sr. Like you said, it's the city game. Anything could happen when it's the city game, and I'm excited to get you a highlight of that coming up later this week.
Tigers got it done. The first meeting of the season at Mansfield. We'll see what happens over at Madison Junior High. All right, let's flip the script, and everybody's working for the weekend. Here's what we got going on the OH Report. Centerburg at East Knox. That's right. We are headed back down to the Dog Pound to see the boys play, and this is a huge one. Is this for first place in outright?
Centerburg wins. They get the 2-game lead on East Knox. If East Knox wins, they're tied atop the KMAC with only a couple games left. So can the Bulldogs pull off a late run like they did in football to sneak in the back door to get a KMAC championship?
It's going to be yours truly on the call with G-Man Storm. You're going to be at Lexington. Going to see these TY Tigers again, who have elevated their game, it seems like, when they play some of the good teams. So this one, even though the Tigers got the bad record, you never know.
I mean, this one could be a huge statement win for them, so it'll be exciting to see it. I mean, Mansfield Sr., they play good basketball. It's just when it comes to getting it done in crunch time, so we'll see.
Travis, Ontario, going over to Clear Fork. Colts not won a game all year, but Ontario struggling a lot lately.
Why?
So we could see.
Yeah.
Could
Biggest key, I know the boys over here, hashtag Jardy Party. Andy Jardy will be back on
Let's go.
commentating with me down there. But
Ain't no party like
there's only a
Jardy
couple
Party.
more games I think Clear Fork has a chance. It's Highland, the last game of the year, and this one against Ontario. Can they finally get off the schneid, or will they go for 0-4 like your Browns did in the past and Storms Lions as well? But we'll see coming up on Friday night from the Colt Corral.
Yoinks! Those were some rough years, Colts, so let's hope that you don't join our exclusive club. And then Worcester at Ashland, that's the big game of the night in our area. Greg and Harder are going to be on the call for that one over at Arrows Arena. And then finally on Saturday, Ashland at Mansfield Sr. I'm going to be hooking up with K-Mac Trav. We're going to be on the call for that one. But guess what, folks? For the first time in OH Report history, we're going to have a pre-game interview with a coach. I'll go ahead and plug him. I don't know if he's got a stage name yet, but Javar Hudgens told me that he's going to answer my questions in song, hip-hop style, during the pre-game interview. If that's not enough to tune in
That's a
for,
must-watch.
I don't. What do you want? What do you want, people? Are you not going to be entertained by that? Come on, Chap.
That's going to be amazing. I can't believe I get to see this in person as well, and it is going to be a blast. Can Renee Stimpert's squad get a signature victory in her second season? We'll have to find out.
Yeah, we'll see about that one. All right, East Knox going to be at Mansfield Christian for the boys. G-Men and Storm on the call. Give me a little bit of insight what you're looking forward to with the Dogs, maybe coming off of a big win, maybe a tough loss.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, if they are coming off a big win for the KMAC Championship, they're going to be, riding their coattails and super excited. So maybe Mansfield Christian might be able to sneak in there, a little trap game right there. But if not, East Knox may try to bring the pain. So make sure you kick it with us, me and Storm, on the call.
Live and free. All right, and then finally, Shelby might get tested. Hayden, we haven't seen that on a highlight in quite a while, but see that young lady that's down in the corner that we have the snippet of the picture? That means that she's a pretty big deal. Her River Valley Vikings going to be taking on the Lady Whippets. Could see a good one.
Yeah, Hannah Logan, she's a great player for River Valley. They're a good team. Took down Cardington the other night, but I have a feeling that this test will be more like a open book test for the Lady Whippets.
Ooh.
We've seen it one time earlier this year, and it wasn't much of a test. So, again, you can catch my highlight, and I'll let it do the talking on Saturday.
All right, so that's the week ahead, our broadcast schedule here on the OH Report per usual. We got a lot going on, but I hear that we got some more storms on the way, lots of snow, so Our schedule subject to change as it is every single week. We'll see who actually ends up playing, but I know that we'll be posting the weekly schedule, and then every single morning, if you haven't noticed, we do drop a nice graphic for you guys to see who's playing that night, and you can click on the links, and it'll take you right to the game. That's all I got, fellas, so go ahead, wrap things up for me.
Gravis, #JB.
KFC, bring back the double down, please.
Storm ain't got no drip. Don't
KFC,
just don't
the
listen
double
to
down.
him.
Bring it back. Listen to your audience. We want the double down back.